Good morning, sir. This is my testimony. I'm Malati from Shah Alam. This is my first testimony, my first experience with PVH some 12 years ago, 12 or 13 years ago. When I was in Ipoh that time. I went to my hometown to meet my parents and sisters. And one fine day, my sister Mona, she said, you must come and see this interesting person. He's a healer. That's all I know about Mr.Siva. And I wanted to go so much because my elder daughter had this problem of she's getting headache. She used to have headache at the age of like 5, 6. I don't really understand. She had a severe headache. She will vomit. And I took her to temple and then tie string in her hand, and then I used to take her to a mosque. And of course I don't want to give her so much Panadol at the age, very young age, so I was very concerned about her. So I went there with the family in Ipoh. I went with my 3 kids. My husband came along, and prior to that, around 3 hours before that, I took my youngest daughter for a haircut. This is very interesting. I want to share with everyone. So she loves long hair, and I used to secretly go and tell the person to cut her hair very short. And once she realized the hair was very short, she was very angry and she started crying, and I don't know how the situation was in a mess. So actually I went and see Mr.Siva for my elder daughter for a headache, and that time it's very difficult for me to control my youngest one. She was around 7 or 8, I can't remember. So when I bring her, the first thing Mr.Siva saw from my family, she saw my youngest daughter and she saw me. And then she said, "Hey, what is this? What happened to you? Go and hug your mother." Then he looked at me and said, go and sayang your daughter." And then I realized what's happening. How does he know that about her emotion, her anger towards me? And then she was fine after that. Then we were talking about my elder daughter, she had a severe headache, and then that's the first time I saw Mr.Siva. He was healing her using the wand. First time I saw the wand, and then he healed. And then the second thing is my elder daughter was suffering from headache. She perspired. The whole face was like she just took like a hot water perspired, and she was relieved and she looked very calm. And then I believe that that healing has worked, and started to follow the teaching and his method, even though not so serious those days. But because there was only one type of white one, and then only one type of affirmation, so I used to read now and then, and I believed in PVH. Only one main thing is because it's a lot of common sense, and it's science. When you think about it, it's a lot of what happened in us. It's about common sense, why and why not. And talking about me, I used to argue a lot with my parents those days. So I used to ask a lot of questions, curiosity, and PVH has an answer. And then my daughter she was fine after a few years. After that, she used to get a headache once in a month, few months once, and the same. She would have to call Mr.Siva, and there will be some soul and connection. Until one fine day, few years back, Mr.Siva said, I started to realize she got a headache during full moon. And it took a long time for me to realize that. Then when I contacted Mr.Siva, Mr.Siva said, "Okay, bring her." Then I took her to Sagambod one day, and Mr.Siva finally found out that it was an inner world connection which came to her when she was very young. I think around 3 years old, and he was asking me how was she when she was a baby. And then I started to recall, she was very young when she was around 2-3 years old. I used to sleep with her, and when I got up in the middle of night, I used to sit her. She would be like sitting on the bed restlessly, and she would look around, very active and energetic at that hour. It happened quite frequently when she was young. I used to take her to temple, tie a string, and then to the mosque. And of course, I can't remember whether I gave her any medication or not. But now she's very fine. Mr.Siva did a lot of healing and found out about the connection, and she's fine. She doesn't suffer from headache anymore, and she's 23 now. She also actively follows PVH teaching and healing, and if she had a headache, she will know something wrong with the food, the stomach is acidic, and she will do a healing. And thank you, Mr.Siva sir. Thank you, PVH, for bringing this PVH into my life. And thank you, thank you, thank you.